This is one of the most exciting chapters in the whole of Revelation. It's a pretty difficult chapter to understand in reference to where are we in time, okay? So timing is always the biggest issue with Revelation 17. So just keep that in mind, but we're going to go through this slowly. If you have questions, make sure you raise your hands, all right? Or else, by the time we get to the end, you will not know what we're talking about. So we're building on Daniel and also Revelation, our understanding of what we studied so far. All right, so let's start with verse 1. Revelation 17, verse 1.
Revelation 17, verse 1. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will shew thee unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
Okay, so what has just passed? What did we study last week? The 7 last plagues, right? Now remind me again, when does the 7 last plagues take place? After close of probation, not before. It doesn't want to say before. So after close of probation, then the 7 last plagues fall. Now, some people try to say that Revelation 17 takes place after the 7 last plagues, okay? But that's wrong. That's not correct. If we think that Revelation 17, okay, so for example, we had close probation, right? And then the 7 last plagues. If we think that Revelation 17 is here, then we've got problems with our time frame, okay? It's just the angel that finished pouring out the 7 last plagues. He's coming and he says, look, I'm going to talk to you about the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, right? So what he's going to do is take us back into time. So this is not where Revelation 17 is in terms of time frame. We'll get this clear as we go through this, okay? Verse 2.
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
So the whore committed fornication with who? Kings of the earth, right? So the kings of the earth. And who else? The inhabitants of the earth. So inhabitants of the earth. Okay? Now notice, the first thing that takes place is with the kings of the earth. Alright? You know, what we have to be looking at today is what's taking place in the political arena. Okay? We have to be looking at what takes place in the political arena. Now, remember I talked about Ben Carson last week, how he's running for presidency for US. Have you been keeping up to date with what's happening with him and all the news about him? Anybody? Like, there was this, I watched this video on him. He was speaking at a church, a Seventh-day Adventist church, and they had this recording of him. And he said, you know, it's great to be here on Sabbath. I go around the world and I travel a lot. And sometimes when I can't make it to church on Sabbath, I'll go to church on Sunday. Did you know that he said that? It's really scary where these things are kind of heading, you know. I mean, it's great to have a Seventh-day Adventist to be a president, but you know what? He'll be the first one and the last one to apostatize as well. That means fall away from what we really believe. But he said that in a Seventh-day Adventist church. And there was like news all over, everywhere about this. So that's why you guys have to, when you're thinking about these things, you got to keep an eye on what's going on with first the political people. Okay? Political. Because the political will get all the inhabitants of the earth to drink of the wine of a fornication. Now, just to show you that this is consistent, let's go to Daniel 3. Okay? Let's go to Daniel 3. The whore commits fornication with the kings of the earth first, and then all the inhabitants of the earth are made drunk with the wine of her fornication, right? Let's go to Daniel 3. What's Daniel 3 known for? What's the story of Daniel 3? the image, right? The golden image, 60 cubits high, 6 cubits wide, and the 3 boys are thrown into the fire, right? But look at this. Who is gathered at this image? Everyone, but who's that? Let's read verse 2. Okay? Daniel chapter 3, verse 2.
Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, sent together the prince, the governor, the captains, the judges, the treasurer, the counselor, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the province to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up.
What sort of people are gathered there? Leaders, high ranks, high positions. Summarize it a bit more. Politicians, right? Or could we say everyone related to the state, the running of the country? You see that? Nebuchadnezzar gathered together to worship all the people that were political people. You see that? So at the end of the day, don't look for the mark of the beast just to come sweeping through all the people. It has to start first at the political level. You see that? The government. Because they are the ones that will enforce it. I mean, how can someone come to your door and say, oh, you don't worship on Sunday, let me kill you? How can you do that if the state doesn't say it's okay? Right? If he kills you, he's going to go to jail, right? No one can kill you. But the mark of the beast is what? If you don't worship, you'll be killed. That has to come through the political. There must be a law about it. So that's why we're going to keep in mind about what's going on with the political aspect of all of these things. So look, if you don't do this already, try to get into the habit. Every day, for about 30 minutes, just look through what's going on in the news then. And don't go to CNN. CNN's biased. They'll give you a little bit of inkling what's going on, but go through all the news channels as much as you can, you know, and try to just figure out what's taking place, what's happening. And even Adventist news, you know. Or if not, if you're on Facebook a lot, connect to people that are in tune with the news. That's what I try to do. They do all the reading for me. And then they just like, you know, it's just great. You just read what they like, right? So it's filtered, right? So you just, if you can trust people who have the sources, I'm sorry, I don't like so many things on Facebook. I do once in a while, but I'm not the one that, you know, is so active in clicking everything, all right? But try to get through all the news so you understand what is happening. The whore commits fornication first with the kings of the earth, okay? Now remember, a whore is a woman, right? Woman represents church. Kings, political, right? So when you combine church and state, what's the result always? Persecution, right? So let's go back to Revelation 17. Revelation chapter 17. Now we start at verse 2. Now, verse 3 is a key to understanding this chapter, okay? Verse 3, let's go there.
Verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Okay, so what do you see? First, where is John when he sees this woman? Where? He's in the wilderness, okay? We'll come back to this, all right? And what does he see? She sees a woman sitting on what? Scarlet colored beast. And keep going. What's the description of this beast? Blasphemy, and then? Okay. Where have we seen this beast before? Can someone tell me? 7 heads. Where do we see this? Give me a chapter in Revelation. And the name, full of names of what? Blasphemy. Where do you see this? Huh? Revelation 13, let's go there. Okay, Revelation 13. Priscilla, read verse 1 and 2 for us, please. Revelation 13, verses 1 and 2.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horn 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy. Verse 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority.
Okay. Now, what is similar between Revelation 17 and Revelation 13 that we just read? What is similar? Blasphemy. What else? 7 heads, 10 horns. What is different? 10 crowns, okay. The dragon, okay. What else? Okay. Thank you, Alan. Can you say that louder? Did you hear? Can you say it louder?
There's no woman.
Okay. So he got it before I could draw it up. Like, what's the difference between this and this? It's missing the woman. All right? That's all. This beast, it seems like it's exactly the same as this. Yeah? What did you say? I don't know. What did you say now? Okay, all right. So that's a difference too. But what I'm trying to show you here first is this. Before we get to the wilderness part, because this is really important, all right? If you miss this part, if you don't understand it, please raise your hand. We will stay here until we get through this. But first, I want you to see the major difference is the woman is missing. Now, who is this? In Revelation 13. 7 heads, 10 horns, feet like a bear, body like a leopard, mouth like a lion. Who's that? Rome? No, it's not Rome. It's the Catholic Church, okay? Question. Who's the woman in Revelation 17? What does a woman represent? Church. Who's the beast? Can you see there's a dilemma, right? If you try to connect this with this? Because the beast is the Catholic Church in Revelation 13. But the woman is the Catholic Church in Revelation 17. Even though the beast looks exactly the same, right? So you can't assume that these two beasts are the same thing. Does that make sense? The woman plus the beast in Revelation 17 is equal to the beast of Revelation 13. Does that make sense? So that's why you got to be careful when you try to determine who this beast is and just doing a word search. 7 heads, 10 horns. You'll find it in Revelation 13, but they're not the same thing. It's the beast plus the woman. Okay? What Revelation 17 does is clearly separate the political part of the Catholic Church with the religious part. And shows it very clearly joined together. Does that make sense? Any questions? Any questions? All right, you can clearly see a different picture, right? Revelation 17. Is that clear?
So who this beast and woman is?
Well, we already know who the woman is. Is who?
Church.
The church, right? It's a whore. Is that a good church or a bad church? Huh? It's a bad church, right? So it's got to be who then? Who's the only bad church we see in the Bible? The Catholic Church. So that's why I'm saying the woman is the Catholic Church. But we'll get through this details about the beast. Okay?
And this one is all Catholic Church?
Yes, this is Revelation 13.
Yeah, but it's same.
No, they're not. This beast and this beast are not the same, even though the description of them are the same. Yeah. This whole beast by itself, there's no woman in this picture, right? It's totally the Catholic Church. But here, it's the woman who is the Catholic Church with the beast. Now, what does the beast represent in the Bible? Huh? Kingdom, right? Daniel chapter 7, 17 and 23. Okay? So a beast represents a kingdom. This is the political entity that attaches itself with the woman. Do you see that? Church plus state. Do you see that? So we see the coming together of these two very clearly in Revelation 17. Now, question, before we get to the wilderness part. When you ride on a horse, who's in control? The person or the horse? The person, right? Unless, of course, you don't know how to ride a horse. I've only ridden a horse once and I was not in control. Okay, the horse was in control. I'm just glad it followed all the other horses, you know. But usually when you ride on something, whether it be a buffalo or a horse, the one who's the rider is the one that's in control, okay? So you got to understand that the woman, she's riding on the beast, she, the church, is the one that's in control. Okay? The church is the one that is in control. Clear? All right. Now, where is the woman and the beast? They are in the wilderness. Do you remember anywhere in the book of Revelation we have talked about a wilderness? Does anybody remember? Huh? The temptation of Jesus? That's not in the book of Revelation. Where in the book of Revelation have we talked about a wilderness before? I mentioned it when we studied this, and I said, this is really important. You got to remember this. Which chapter? Which chapter? The woman was taken away. Okay, he's quoting it. The woman was taken away into the wilderness, where she had the place prepared of God that they should feed her there 1,203 score days. Sound familiar? Huh?
Revelation 12.
Revelation 12, correct. What verse? Verse 6. Okay, so let's go there real quick. Revelation 12, verse 6. As we're talking about the wilderness, okay? Let me write this down for you guys. Revelation 12, verse 6. So who's next? Sherman? Can you read that verse for us? Revelation 12, verse 6.
And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,203 score days.
How many days? How many days? 1,260 days. Okay, we studied this before. Tell me, when did the 1,260 days begin? 538. And when did it end? You just add 538 to 1,260.
1790.
You look at your notes. Look at your notes for that one. Okay? For those that don't know what this is, let's try to figure out, help everyone get up to speed. What happened during this time? What happened from 538 to 1798? Rise of the Roman Church, and what happened? They persecuted the saints for 1,260 years. Okay? For 1,260 years, the Roman Catholic Church persecuted God's people. All right? This is what was talked about in Revelation 12, verse 6. Now, in Revelation 12, 6, it says, somebody ran into the wilderness. Who was it? Who ran into the wilderness? The woman. Okay, now what does woman represent? Church, right? Is this a good woman or a bad woman? This was a good woman, right? in 538, God's church, good church, ran into the wilderness. From 538 to 1798, if you wanted to know about God's true church, you couldn't find her. Huh? She was hiding. Do you understand that? For 1,260 years, God seemed like He didn't even have a church. You know, there was no such thing as Seventh-day Adventist Church on the corner. Every week they had service and worship together. No. For 1,260 years, God's people were hiding. They were running. The only church that you could see was which church? It was the Roman Catholic Church. And that was not the woman that ran into the wilderness. She was one that was out and about and everywhere, right? The one that ran into the wilderness was God's church. So that's why you don't have an idea at all about where God's church was during that time. But we talk about these people in history. Who's here read the Great Controversy before? Have you read the Great Controversy? Raise your hand. You started it but haven't finished. Is it? What?
It's been long.
It's been long? Oh, since a long time since you read it. Anybody else? You finished it? No? You started it? Who else? Has anyone started the Great Controversy yet? Not finished it? Look, this book, it talks about a lot about this time. You know, it'll talk about Martin Luther. You guys know Martin Luther, right? Zwingli, Melanchthon, Waldensians, Wesley, the Wesley brothers. There's a lot of people that Great Controversy talks about, that during the Dark Ages, they were either fighting against the Catholic Church because they were writing books saying that what they're teaching is wrong, or they were worshipping in the mountains, Waldensians, the Huguenots, all these people. They were in the Swiss Alps and they worshipped in caves. They were hiding, literally hiding, for this many years, you know. So you have to read Great Controversy to understand all this history. It's, you know, when I tell you all these things, it kind of gets boring because it's like I'm just telling you a story, isn't it? But you got to go back and read Great Controversy. A really, really, really good book, okay? It's one of the most important books that you can get in your whole library. So if you need it, look, there are e-copies. I'll download the copy for you and make it nice and neat and everything for you to read. But you have to take the time to read it. Very important. So during 538 to 1798, God's church was hiding. They were persecuted, right? The wilderness, listen, the wilderness does not equal 1,260 days. It does not equal, okay, let me write it clearly. The wilderness does not equal 1,260 days. All right? That's not what the wilderness means. What does the wilderness mean again? Tell me. Huh? What was the wilderness? It was a place of hiding, okay? It equals a place of hiding. I think I gave you this definition in Revelation 12. Do you guys have your notes with you? Anybody? Look back. I know I distinctly talked about the wilderness. It was a place of hiding, all right? The 1,260 years is just the duration, okay? So the wilderness also does not equal 538 to 1798, all right? The wilderness was just the place of hiding, that's all. Make sense? You guys all with me? Any questions about this? Before I make the application back to Revelation 17. Any questions? Okay, so now we come back to Revelation 17. Who does John see in the wilderness? Who? The beast and the woman. Okay? So he sees this in the wilderness. They are hiding. That means you cannot see them together. You know those secret relationships that begin under the cover? And then a few months later, they tell the parents. And it's like, oh, but we've been together for like 3 months. They're in a place of hiding. They're kind of together, but they're not really. You know what I mean? The visibility of the church and the state come together, it hasn't happened yet. Do you get it? Because when these two come together, church plus state, it equals what? Persecution. You look confused.
No.
Yes or no? Is that clear? So, John in Revelation 17, he sees the beast and the woman in the wilderness. They are hiding. Alright? Is that clear? Any questions? So at that point in time, they are not together. You don't see them together. They're not there. It's under the covers. Alright? Now, the question is this. When was the church and the state together? (538) to 1798. When will they also be together? Do you guys understand my questions? It seems like Alan's the only one who understands what I'm talking about. Before the 7 last plagues, the woman and the beast will be together again, right? What do we call that time? Huh? Jacob's Tower of Trouble is the 7 last plagues. It's called the Little Time of Trouble, or the National Sunday Law. Okay? When these two come together, the National Sunday Law takes place. But at this point in time, they are hiding. They are not visibly together out in the open. Okay? So there's no persecution. It's not 538 to 1798. Alright? Is that clear? Everybody? No? Question? What's, you don't even know what you don't understand. Oh, that's hard. Okay. Let's recap. Okay, so let me recap. Hopefully you'll be able to see what we're talking about. So verse 1 of Revelation 17, it talks about the whore, right? Who's that? Who's the whore? It's the Roman Catholic Church, because a woman is a church, right? It's a bad church. It has to be Roman Catholic Church. Verse 2 in Revelation 17, it says, she committed fornication with who? The kings of the earth and the inhabitants of the earth, right? And we know that when these two come together, it equals what? Persecution. When did that happen? 538, 1798? But when else will it happen? In the future, with National Sunday Law, right? Clear? So then in verse 3, John was taken into the wilderness where he saw the woman riding on a beast. And that's all we've got so far. So what I wanted to show you guys is what the wilderness means. Right? Because sometimes people, when they see the word wilderness, they think it's 538 to 1798. But it's not. Okay? The wilderness was a place of hiding. And the woman and the beast were together during 538 to 1790 because they were persecuting God's people, right? So now they're in a place of hiding. There's no persecution. Clear? That's all we've seen so far. So I just wanted to get this clear because some people teach that the wilderness is this, but it's wrong. At least in my estimation, for what I've studied. They say the wilderness is this because they see it in Revelation 12:6, but it's not. Okay? If you don't know what this is, then you have to go back to Daniel. I mean, we're going too far back then. All right? But at least take these notes down so you'll understand when you come back to them again in the future. Okay? So John, he sees the woman in the wilderness. Now, let's read verse 4. Revelation chapter 17, verse 4. Where are we up to? somewhere there. Oh, Michelle.
17 verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in a purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stone and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
So it's just describing the woman, right? We already know who this woman is. It's the Roman Catholic Church, right? But she's arrayed in purple and scarlet. You know, that's the colors that the priests wear. What order are they? The cardinals and bishops, right? Hey, you see red and purple. But then it says what? Decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. It's a rich church. Do you know, I read this article. I don't know how true it is. But I read this article about the Roman Catholic Church just last year. They're rich. Do you know how much the Catholic Church earns a year? Have a guess. Somebody. Come on. 100,000? That's like how much almost we earn. They say the cash flow of the Catholic Church in 1 year is about 16 billion. 16 billion. You know how much 1 billion is?
Ringgit.
Cost. No. I wouldn't even be surprised it was euros, right? But 16, you know how much 1 billion is? It's 1,000 million. It's 1,000 million, okay? They say the cash flow of the church, of the Roman Catholic Church, they estimate, of course it's not accurate, but you know, it's around that ballpark figure they say. 16 billion. Can you imagine what we can do with 16 billion? Amazing, right? So this is a rich church. Okay? So that verse 4, is just describing the woman. Alright? Let's keep going. Verse 5.
And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abomination of the earth.
So still describing the woman. Okay? So her name is Babylon. Right? Her name is Babylon. So this is, of course, spiritual Babylon. Now, verse 6.
And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
Okay. Like I said, the biggest problem with Revelation 17 is timing. Okay, where are we? There are 2 times in history, not right now, but it'll be in the history, where the woman and the beast are together, okay? Persecuting. The first time was when again? 538? 1798. And when's the second time the woman and the beast will be together? Persecuting. This time is National Sunday Law, right? We are somewhere like here, okay? That's where we are. So it's about to take place. You see that little gap? All right? So we're there, 2015. All right? Look, these are the 2 times that the woman and the beast will be together. Now, John sees the woman in the wilderness with the beast, right? And we just read in verse 6 that the woman was what? Drunken with the blood of the saints and of the blood of the martyrs, right? Now, if she's drunken, is that past, present, or future? It's describing her present condition, right? Is drinking past, present, or future? That's present. So if I'm drunken, is that past, present, or future? That's past, right? That means I've already finished drinking, okay? So this woman, she is drinking or drunken? She's drunken, so she has already finished, okay? That means, you got to be careful with these words, right? It describes it very carefully. So that means this woman has already done what? She's already persecuted. Okay? We have 2 options. That it cannot be before. because she didn't persecute before, right? We have two options of where she is in the wilderness. It's either here or what's that? What's that? What's that? Or after the National Sunday Law, right? So verse 6 is either describing where she's here or where she is here. We don't know yet, but it's one or the other, right? In 1798, Napoleon with General Berthier, they marched into Vatican City and we've had enough of you, Pope. Took him off the throne, okay? The church still existed, but the political part was not together anymore, right? So today we still have the Catholic Church, but they are not political, right? They're just a church. So this is also described as a wilderness experience. True? And this is also a wilderness experience, right? Where are we? We still don't know. Okay, but now we have narrowed it down to just two options. Are we here or are we here? Okay? Clear? All right. Now, let's continue. Any questions?
It looks more obvious that we are on number one because the National Sunday Law has not happened yet.
What do you mean?
The National Sunday Law.
Okay. I mean, that's us. But it could be here. She's drunken. If she drinks with the blood of the martyrs, there'll be martyrs here too. She's going to persecute God's people here as well, right? So it could be here or it could be here. At best, you've got an educated guess. All right? It's a good hypothesis. But we have to have clear proof. All right? So this is clearly not John's day, right? You know, when he saw the vision, he's like, oh yeah, the woman and the beast of the wilderness. Yeah, that's my day. You know, 100 AD. No. Right? Because the woman that he saw was already drunken. So it's either here or here. Clear? Yeah? So we still have two options. We haven't narrowed it down yet to one. But by the end of this, hopefully it'll be clear. Any other questions?
Shouldn't it be a worldwide Sunday law, not national? National is only pertaining to one nation. In fact, we put it
Okay. Universal. That's what we usually call it. All right, thank you. Any other questions or corrections? Good? All right, let's continue. Verse 7. Who's next? We're at the back there. Karen?
Verse 7, and the angel said unto me, Before it thou marvel, I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which had the 7 heads and 10 horns.
So, you know, the angel looks at John writing and is like, why did you marvel? What's another word for marvel? It's like, why are you amazed? Why are you shocked? Right? So John must be like, what's happening? Right? And the angel looks at him and is like, John, calm down. I'm going to tell you the mystery of the what? The woman and the beast. All right? So look. The angel is about to get into description about the woman and the beast. But here's the thing. The rest of the time, the angel talks about the beast. You know why? Because we already know who the woman is. Who is it? It's the Roman Catholic Church, right? We gave the evidence very clearly. The key to understanding Revelation 17 is the beast. Okay? We've talked a lot about the Catholic Church already. We don't need to worry about them anymore. But now, let's move on and understand the rest of this picture. Because it's a different picture to what we've seen all this time. It's a woman and the beast. Okay? So now let's go to verse 8. Is it verse 8?
Verse 8, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, and that dwell on the earth shall wander, whose name were not written in the book of life from the publisher of the world. When the
And is not, and yet is.
Some of you just looked at me, you stopped reading. You got confused already? Okay? So let's break this down. This verse is long, but it's actually really easy to understand, okay? What I want to do first is put up a table. So if you guys want to draw up a table, you might actually want to wait till I'm done. All right, maybe some changes might be forthcoming. But let's go through this verse, okay? Verse 8. Now it says this. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Okay, so let's go through this. Was is past, present, or future? Past. Okay? Is not. It's present. Shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Future, right? And then let's keep going. And go into perdition. Is that past, present, or future?
It's present. Future.
Okay, we got to read the whole thing. And shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. That's future, right? Okay? And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder. Future, right? They that dwell on earth shall wonder. Sorry. Okay. Trying to just save a little bit of room. Just scared I'm going to run out of space all the way down. All right? So they that dwell on earth shall wonder, whose names are not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. Okay? So here we have so far the beast. It's just describing the beast. The beast has three phases: past, present, and future. Okay? So the beast was before. It currently is not. And in the future, it shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. So now we've narrowed down. Okay, remember our timeline? Let me just make it smaller again. All right? Universal Sunday Law. All right? Not USA, USL. All right? Remember we had two options, here or here. Right? So John sees the woman and the beast where? Again. In the wilderness. They are hiding. That's present. That's this present time, right? The woman and the beast is not. Actually, I just say the beast is not. Because the woman we still see today. It's who? The Catholic Church. We still see the Catholic Church, but we don't see the political part of it. It's hiding. But it says one day it shall ascend. Now, after the Universal Sunday Law and the plagues and all that, you think the beast will rise up again? No. You know, if you guys don't know the timeline of events, it's 1,000 years. Sorry, the plagues are here. Okay, the 7 last plagues are here. Right? And then the 1,000 years. All right? So the beast, after the Universal Sunday Law, the beast will not ascend again and go into perdition again and make all those that dwell on the earth to follow it, right? So it's clear that option 1, now your educated guess has proof to it. It's right, you're right. Just didn't want you to kill the suspense for everybody else. But this is where we are in time. Between 1798 and the beginning of the Sunday Law. Did I lose anyone? I'm trying to show you where we are in the present time And we already read earlier on that the present time of what John saw was the woman and the beast in the wilderness. Okay? And we had two options, either here or here, but the second option doesn't fit anymore after we go through this. Does that make sense? Some of you look confused. Any questions? Okay, so let's recap, all right? So we've added, okay, verse 8 is talking about the, who is it? Okay, verse 8, tell me who is verse 8 talking about? The beast, okay? It's not talking about the woman. Now, what descriptions we saw was the beast currently is not, and the beast one day shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, go into perdition, but they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, okay? That's future. Now, before we read verse 8, remember I showed you this timeline, right? And I showed you that we had two options of the woman and the beast in the wilderness. It was either here or here. Option 1, between 1798 and the start of the National Sunday Law, Universal Sunday Law, or after the Sunday Law finishes, and then into the future. But second option cannot apply anymore. It must be the first option. Why? Because if this is the present, okay, it says that the woman, presently the woman and the beast is what? Is wilderness, hiding. This is the present state of the woman and the beast. But it says one day the beast will come back to life again. And all the world will wander after the beast. That will not take place after this. Does that make sense? It will take place after this, though. National or Universal Sunday Law will come in again. So that's why we know option 1 fits the best. Does that help? Yeah? So we're just trying to figure out where we are in present. So, sorry, did you want to write that down? It's okay. Present woman and beast in the wilderness. Huh? Too hard to understand?
No, we say we are still far beyond the 144,000.
Oh no. I believe they're living today. I hope they're living today.
Looks
I want to be
like
one of them.
you're
Okay? So, present, the beast was, it is not what? It's not with the woman. They're in the wilderness, right? But one day it shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Okay. Concordance. Tell me what the bottomless pit means. Abyss. Keep going. What else?
atmosphere.
The atmosphere? No. Don't guess. He's our concordance man. Okay, can you read out the meaning of the abyss?
Bottomless, unbounded, the abyss, the deep, immeasurable depth, very deep gulf, chasm, lowest part of the earth, receptacle of the dead, especially avoided.
That's it?
Depthless, bottomless, infernal.
Bottom of the atmosphere.
The bottom of it doesn't say the bottom of the atmosphere. You like your atmosphere too much. Okay.
Atmosphere will be us.
That's solitary and wilderness.
Okay, yeah, you need to change your concordance. I don't know why.
Using strong.
Yeah. Okay. Where's my bottom? Okay. Yeah, you are right.
Concordance is right.
His concordance is right. Where do we see the abyss mentioned? Remember we talked about the bottomless pit before? Can you look it up in Revelation where we talked about this?
He was bound for 1,000.
He's bound, that's Revelation 20. You've studied that before. We haven't got to Revelation 20 yet. Revelation 9. What did we read about the bottomless pit in Revelation 9? Do you guys remember what happened in Revelation 9? You all forgotten, haven't you? This is why history is so important. What was Revelation 9 about? What was opened in verse 1? Or what sounded in verse 1? The fifth angel sounded. This is what we call the seven trumpets. Do you remember that? And it says, what came out of this bottomless pit? Smoke, and what else? It looked like smoke, but it wasn't real smoke. It was something else. There were bugs. What was it called? There were locusts. Do you remember this? And we talked about the Muslim Empire, the Ottoman Empire, right? And we talked about how they came out of the bottomless pit. But what was that bottomless pit?
Desert.
It was a desert. Uncultivated, uninhabited place, right? Do you know when it says that this beast shall arise out of the bottomless pit, it's saying it will come out of the wilderness. Another word for wilderness is bottomless pit, desert, uninhabited place. Do you see that? So one day, this beast shall come out of hiding. Clear? That's what it means by bottomless pit.
Dictionary says hell. That's how dictionary says.
You got to use Strong's Concordance. Strong's Concordance. Because it gives us the original Greek meaning of it. Yeah, it's very important. You should go by that. All right? So we've done verse 8. Past, present, future. Clear? Now let's move on. Verse 9.
Verse 9. And here is the man which had wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth.
Okay, who's the woman again? Roman Catholic Church. It says the 7 heads are 7 mountains, all right? It's a clear application, all right? They say, I've never been there before, I've read research on it, but they say the Vatican City is surrounded by 7 mountains, okay? Or it sits on 7 hills. It's really a hill, not a mountain. But it's just another identifying mark, okay? You go over there one day and count all the mountains yourself. All right? So let's keep going. Verse 10.
Verse 10. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when they come, he must continue sharp.
Okay, so there are 7 what? Kings. And then it says what? 5 are fallen. Past, present, and future. One is past, present, and future. And not yet come. One not yet come. But when he cometh, he must what? Continue a short space. When he cometh. Oops. You must continue short space. Okay? Once again, more description for the future. It seems like we're not given much description about the past or the present. Okay? We already know this timeline though. 1798, right? We already know when this will take place. When will the beast ascend out of the bottomless pit? Universal Sunday law. Or we could say reunification of church and stay. That's that timeline between here and here. We've already proven that, yeah? So now we see 7 kings. 5 have fallen. One is not yet come. But when he comes, he will continue a short space. Who are these kings? The Pope. He's not a king. Let's continue. Verse 11.
Verse 11. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7th, and goeth into perdition.
Okay. So the beast that was and is not, even he is what? No. Even he is the 8th
Of the 7.
and is of the 7 and what? So the 8th goes into, not 7, the 8th goes into what? Perdition. Where do we see going into perdition? Future, right? So that means, verse 11, that means the 8th must be here. Right? Because it says the 8th shall go into perdition, and we see the beast go into perdition at this time. Are you with me? So the 8th is the 8th head. Now, here's the thing. What does number 8 symbolize? Oh, that was quick. Are you sure? 8 represents resurrection, right? Jesus was resurrected on the 8th day. 7 days, and then first day is the 8th, right? It's the same thing. Noah, 8 people on the ark, right? They go in the ark, they come out, death and resurrection. It was a baptism. Do you know that? So 8 represents resurrection. So look, the 8th head, what does it say in verse 11? Is of the 7. Are you with me? The 8th head is one of the 7. Is that clear? So, just wait, let me draw 7 heads here for you. Oops. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So 5 are fallen. 1 is, and the other is not yet come, right? Now where is the 8th? Is it here, here, or here? Past, present, or future? Future, right? So the 8th head will appear here. Now, the 8th head is one of the resurrected 7 heads. Because 8 represents resurrection. It's one of the 7. Do you get it? The 8th is one of the 7. That's what it said in the Bible. Clear? Now, if the 8th head is resurrected and it's with the 7th head, it can't be the 7th head. You can't resurrect something that's not dead yet. Make sense? So really, the 8th head is one of the 6. I'm not changing Bible, I'm just trying to help you understand, okay? Let me say this again. The 8th head is of the 7. But the 8th head is together at the same time with the 7th head, right? This is a resurrection of one of these heads. Does that make sense? That means this one cannot be the 7th.
Because it's resurrection.
Yeah, and this
Before you
has.
get resurrect, you have to die.
Yeah, this one hasn't died yet.
Is he in
They're together.
Bush?
What?
So I think Pastor the best.
Bush? Did he say George Bush?
I think Pastor the best way to say is one of the 7. That one.
Not one of the 7.
I mean, the best way to say is the 8th one is one of the 7.
No, it doesn't say 7th. It
No,
says,
what's the 7th?
well, what does it say? Verse 11. It says,
7th.
even he is the 8th and is of the 7th. So this guy is one of these guys. That's what it's saying. But it can't be this one because they're together at the same time. So really, it's one of these guys. One of the 6.
The 6 is.
Yes, but the 8th is in the future here. That means this one will be gone by that time, right? It's a succession. So this guy is one of these ones. Okay, one of the 6. Okay, is that clear? That's all I want you to see for now. Huh? Who are the 6? We'll get to it. Okay? 8. What's the question?
How many president of the United States right now?
Huh? 1.
Doesn't matter about that.
From before?
From before? Over 100, I think. Oh, no, less than 100, but it's definitely over 50.
44.
Huh? 44? Oh, you see, I don't even know. It's not even over 50. There you go. But does this make sense? I just want you to understand the 8th head first. Okay, number 8 represents resurrection, bringing back to life, right? You can't bring the 7th head back to life because it hasn't died yet. The 8th head appears with the 7th. Clear? Any other questions?
What if the 7 die?
Shall go into bottomless, it shall go into perdition. That's right, the very end. It won't die until the very end.
So who it is?
No, who is it? Not who it is. Who is it? Who is it? Can anyone guess who the 5 heads are? Look, God does not reveal anything that He has not shown before unless He gives clear evidence, like identifying marks, right? Like the little horn. But who is this? Okay, so who are the first 5 heads? Who are the first 5 heads? Listen, I want you to think about this. When did the 5th head die? Give me a date. When did the 5th head die? Huh? 1798, right? 5 have fallen. 1 is. The 6th head, the timeline is 1798. The 6th head appears around 1798, right? Who are the 5 that existed before this? Did you say this? Yeah? Keep going. Come on, Henry, give me the last one. Who is the 6th? Huh? Say it again. Have we not studied all these kingdoms before? When did US come to power? Tell me. I gave you the date in Revelation 13. See, are you seeing why history is so important? Come on, when did USA come to power? Look at the notes. Quick. Did you take good notes? Huh? When did USA come to power? July 4. Independence Day. Don't stop searching. I haven't given you the year. Well, when? July 4, 2011? Right. When did USA come to independence? Huh? 1776. That was around 1798. You see that? Does it fit? Absolutely. 7 heads, 10 horns. Don't worry, we'll talk about the 7th and the 8th. Okay? We'll talk about the 7th and the 8th in a minute. But we put together the heads already, yeah? Any questions? You can't understand this without Daniel 7 or Daniel 2. right? Revelation 13, USA, you won't understand it without that, right? So, 5 have fallen, 1 is, and look, he is, but he's not together with the woman and the beast. USA as a nation that rose up in relatively peaceful times, right? Of course, they were fleeing papal persecution, but they came around during relatively peaceful times. Who's the 8th? We don't know yet, but we know it's one of the 6. Okay? So which will be the 8th? Will Babylon be resurrected? Will Medo Persia be resurrected? Will Greece or Rome or Catholic Church or USA be resurrected? Who would? Huh? Before you jump to conclusions, let's get to the end first, alright? So where are we at? Verse 11? Let's keep going. Verse 12. Whose turn to read? Alex. Verse 12.
Verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are the 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
Okay. So now it's talking about the 10 horns. It says, the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, right? Which have received no kingdom, singular, as yet. Past, present, or future? Huh? Future. Do we all agree? Alright? The 10 horns are 10 kings, but they have received no kingdom as yet. But then it says what? But they will receive power as kings, how long? 1 hour. Can you connect 1 hour somewhere here in the blue? Short space. True? So look. Verse 12. 10 horns, 1 hour. Notice it says the 10 horns are 10 kings which have received no kingdom. Singular. 10 horns, 1 kingdom as yet. Do you see that? Do you know we've seen the 10 horns before? But it's not the same 10 horns in Revelation 13. It's not the same 10 horns that you see on top of the dragon in Daniel chapter 7. Those 10 horns are the same with each other. Oh, you're confused already. Okay. So where have we seen 10 horns? Daniel 7. Remember the 10 horns are on top of the dragon? Some of you haven't reached there yet in our Bible studies. Do you remember that? The dragon has 10 horns, right? We also see 10 horns, Revelation 13, right? The beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. Do you know why I always draw 10 horns on just 1 head now? Did you always wonder that? You know, if you go to the White Estate in Andrews, you'll see the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, and each beast has 1 horn each, except for the last 3, they have 2 horns each, making 10 horns. But I believe that's a wrong illustration of what we see in Revelation. Okay? It's 7 heads and 10 horns are all on the last head, because of what we see in Revelation 17. Okay? Same thing. But these horns here are not the same as what we see here. Okay? I just want you to make sure you understand that first. What are the 10 horns in Daniel 7 that's on top of the dragon's head? Who are those? Nope. Who are the 10 horns that were on top of the dragon's head in Daniel 7? I'm sorry, look. Some of you guys have not studied Daniel And I know some of you are going to get confused about this, but I'm sorry, I have no other choice. In order for you to understand this, I have to go through these things. Who are the 10 horns on top of the dragon's head? What's that? It's European nations. You'll learn in history that the Roman Empire never was conquered. It was ripped apart by civil war. And that's what became the European nations. Okay? The 10 horns of Daniel 7 and Revelation 13 represent Europe. Okay? Look. The 10 horns here are not Europe. In Revelation 17. We see 10 somewhere else. Let's go to Daniel chapter 2. Do you know what we see there? 10 toes. Daniel chapter 2. And I want you to read this with me, okay? Daniel chapter 2. And let's read verse 42. Okay, let's start in verse 41. Okay, where are we up to? Alicia.
And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron with miry clay.
Do you see the singular kingdom? It doesn't say kingdoms. It's divided, but yet they have the strength of the iron, right? Many people think that it's talking about Europe. You know, when you go to evangelism and you go to these evangelistic series, many studies will teach you Daniel 2, the iron and the clay is the European kingdoms, but it's not. You know why? Because the toes are at the very end of the statue, right? That cannot be the European kingdoms. I mean, we're living in the toenails of time, Ellen White says. That cannot be the divided kingdoms of Europe. That was after Rome fell, then your real European kingdoms came in, and then the Catholic Church. Are you with me? The 10 toes are equivalent to what we see in Revelation 17 as the 10 horns. And they will receive power as kings for how long? 1 hour. Okay? When he cometh, he must continue a short space. It's the same thing. What we see... Oh, I didn't leave myself room. I don't know why I draw such a long neck. Okay, so let me draw a short neck. Alright? What we see is... Okay, 10 horns, right? The 10 horns are 10 kings. Let's go back to Revelation 17, verse 12. Let's go there. The 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet. Okay? But they shall receive what? Power. How long? 1 hour. Look, when it comes to the future, okay, when it talks about this head, the head is not in control. It is the horns. You see that? Why? Because in the last days, we as Seventh-day Adventists, we don't believe in a one-world government. Okay? We don't believe in a one-world government. Like Babylon, it was just one government. They ruled the whole world. Right? Medo-Persia, it was just one government. They ruled the whole world. Same with Greece, same with Rome. Same with the Catholic Church. But at the end of time, we don't believe that the whole world will have one currency, one government system, and one king. We don't believe that because of this. What's going to happen at the end of time is the whole world will give their power to the beast. Let's read verse 13. Let's go back to Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 13.
These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
So these have one mind. Who is it? This one or the horns? It's the horns. The horns are the ones that have one mind. So different governments, but they all have one thinking, same purpose, same desire, same motive. They all give their power to who? The beast. And guess what? Who's riding the beast? The woman. So that means the woman has all the power at the end of time. Does that make sense? How long is 1 hour? 1 day is 1 year. How many days is 1 hour? How many days do we have in a year? 365. But back in the Jewish days, how long was 1 year? 360, okay? So how long is 1 hour? If this is 1 year, right? One day, okay, maybe I lost you guys, all right? Prophetically, 1 day in the Bible equals 1 year. Okay? Remember, 1,260 days is 1,260 years. 1 day is 1 year, right? And 1 year in the Bible was 360 days. So what is 1 hour? Okay, so can someone do 360 divided by 24? What is it? 15. 15 days. That's approximately what? 2 weeks. Look. The universal Sunday law. And the time leading up to the 7 last plagues falling out, it's not a long time. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Look, when the Sunday law comes in, when the beast comes out of the bottomless pit, and the church and state reunite again, what happens? Church and state reunites? Persecution, right? They that dwell on the earth shall wonder. Everybody will wonder, right? But they'll be united together, one mind, right? To do what? Persecute who? God's people. You think they don't know we're Seventh-day Adventists across the road there? They'll be they'll be the first to pick up their swords. I'm not kidding. People at the end of time will kill you thinking they're doing God's service. Are you with me? Do you think that really we have that long? We're not going to be running for 1 year. You know? All we have is 2 weeks. 2 weeks. That's approximately how much time the Bible gives us. They have one mind, and they will give their power and strength to the beast for 1 hour. 15 days. The time of preparation is now. You know what I mean? Matthew 24 says, except those days are shortened, none would be saved. Do you know that? Don't think that the Sunday law will carry on for a very long time. When you see that happening, it's time to run. Full stop. That's it. Don't think you're going to be going to work and your friends are making fun of you. Oh, I didn't see you at church on Sunday. You know, and they're making fun of you and you're just going to deal persecution in front of your computer. You know, don't think you still would be going to work. Don't think you'd be still paying your rent. You know, no buying or selling during that time. They're not going to pay you. Your boss will be the first to kill you. Do you get it? It's a short time. We don't have much time in this time period to get ready. You're not going to be sitting there, should I not? Should I not? You're either running or you're dead. I'm not kidding, this is serious. This is really serious. The time that we have to prepare is now. You get that? Because the whole world will be united to do one thing only. To kill you. You know, I don't know why. My wife was just talking to me about the news, about what's happening. You know the Sharia? What's happening with that? Oh, Sharia. Sharia, it's the same thing. Actually, Sharia, a girl's name. I don't know. But she was telling me how the killings have been so gruesome and so public, you know. And she's like, I don't know why she said this. She's like, I wouldn't be surprised if I was a Muslim. I'd be so ashamed of that religion right now. It would be easy to convert to another religion. You know? Just to see what's going on with all that's happening in the name of God, right? I don't know all the details of what's happened with all those killings or beheadings or whatever. But look, the Muslim empire and the Buddhists and everybody, Hindus, they'll be united against God's people just for one thing. They will all give their power and strength to the beast for 1 hour. Don't think for a moment it took 5 to 10 years to find Osama bin Laden. Okay? They had the tech to find Osama bin Laden. Do you know guys who know Osama bin Laden is? When it happened, you guys were still like really small. You know who Osama bin Laden is? Someone enlighten her. Anybody else not know who Osama bin Laden is? It's a terrorist, apparent terrorist that waged war on US, and they flew the plane into the Twin Towers. You know what the Twin Towers are?
Not KLCC, yeah.
Not KLCC, yeah. The Twin Towers in US. They flew the plane into September 11, 2001. How old were you guys in 2001?
7.
Huh?
World Trade Center.
Oh, was it? World Trade Center, but there was 2 of them. So that was, I thought it was Twin Towers. I thought it is a Twin Towers. I know they call the World Trade Center as well, but those Twin Towers are exactly the same building next to each other. They were called the Twin Towers, man. You think Malaysia is so original? They were. Okay, anyways. Apparently, he was the one that flew those planes, or got his people to fly those planes into US. But look, it did not take them however long to find him and kill him. They had the tech for that. All right? It's not going to take long for the enemies of God to find his faithful people. It's only by the angels alone that we'll be protected, okay? During that time. During this time. And during this time, there'll be lots of martyrs. A lot of people will die for the faith. But look, let's finish it up real quick. We're not done yet. We still have holes here, okay? We're going to fill this up in a minute. Verse 14. Verse 14.
This shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords, and the King of kings. And they that are with him are called the chosen and the faithful.
Okay. So these will make war with the land, all right? God will finally overcome. But here's the thing. We already know who these 5 are. Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome, Catholic Church. The 6th, during our time, we already know. It's USA. It's very clear. Who is the 7th? There is not a 7th head. It is the 10 horns. Do you understand that? It's not one single kingdom. It is the 10 horns who have one mind. They give their power and strength to the beast. Right? For 1 hour. They have one mind. They're all united. It's not US. Okay? This is UN. Do you understand this? The 8th head is not the Catholic Church. Why can't it be the Catholic Church? Can someone tell me? The Catholic Church is the woman. Okay? So, the beast already has the woman riding on it. Okay? It can't be the Catholic Church. The one that, I'm not saying that it necessarily dies, but it's past. It's no longer. We'll enter a new phase, but guess what? The 8th head will continue. Do you see that? And I believe, personally, that it's USA. Because United States of America will be foremost in uniting the whole world. Okay? They'll be the ones that will originate or begin the national Sunday law. The Sunday law will take place in US first. And then it'll go to the whole world. They are a key to unlock the whole world, giving them power and strength to the beast for 1 hour. Is that clear? Any questions?
You say USA is number 6.
It is.
And you say it's number 8.
Exactly. Go back and read it. Well, what do we understand about the 8th head? Is of the 7th. Right? It continues on into the next kingdom. You see that? So, look, where are we? We're here today. Oh, who's number 7? It's the whole world. The 7th head has the 10 horns on top of it. Okay? It's the divided nations that we have today. USA the whole world will not be called USA one day. It will not be conquered by US. We'll still have separate kingdoms. But they will all be united together with the same mind, same purpose, to fulfill the will of the beast at the end of time.
Which is 10 horns, right?
It's the 10 horns, yeah. 10 horns are 10 kings. But they have received no kingdom, singular, as yet. But they will reign 1 hour with the beast. One mind. Okay? So, look. What will unite everybody, I believe? Now we're going to enter into some current stuff, alright? What unites everybody? It's so simple. Peace. I've talked about it, right? The Pope is just advocating peace now. But everyone will come under with the same thing. This is a good thing, right? In our minds, it's a good thing. Why shouldn't we be advocating peace? Why shouldn't we be allowing gays or lesbians to marry? That's just a freedom of choice, expression, whatever you want to call it, right? But not understanding that it'll undermine the First Amendment of US, which is what? Freedom of speech, right? So, although he says peace, but then, all those who freedom of speech have its limits, right? Yeah. If you speak against a religion, you should do what? Get a punch in your mouth, in your face. Did you see what I liked showed on Facebook? I was just shocked. Right? This is the Pope that proposes peace.
He explained it. Later he explained it.
It doesn't matter what he explains. It's just like how Barack Obama says, "My Muslim faith," right? I don't care what he says. He still slipped up. So, look, the whole world will be united on one thing for peace. At the end, you know why? disasters will come. This is what Ellen White says in The Great Controversy. Disasters will come, and everybody is saying God's wrath is upon us. We need to go back and worship. But look at these guys, they're not worshiping with us. In the name of peace, let's go kill them. I'm not kidding. This is what will happen. This is what Ellen White says will happen. So, look, we are living in some serious times. This Pope, he was just voted the Time magazine Man of the Year, right? It's crazy. All these things are happening. But you know what? I believe that God is raising up a generation of young people as well to get ready to bring the gospel to the whole world. But you have to be totally sold on Christ. Totally surrendered to Him. You know? Otherwise, when the time comes and God pours out the Holy Spirit, the latter rain, you'll miss out. But we need the latter rain to get through this time. And also the 7 last plagues. You know? But time is much closer than when you first believed. Look, if you even think that you'll finish your university before the son-in-law comes, you are sadly mistaken. Loria looks shocked. What? I finished this year. But I'm serious. Look, if there's something you got to do, you got to do it today. Don't think we have so much time left. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to predict when Christ will come, okay? But as I see events that are shaping up, it's just scary. And it's time to wake up. You know, time to get ready. There's bigger things in life than your studies, honestly. Huh? What? Quit study? Yeah. Steve Jobs did, and look what he did. Multi-billionaire, even though he earned $1 a year. Right? Study all this Greek education. I don't even get me started in education stuff. But, you know, it's time to put the important things first. Prioritize. If you start looking at the news, you will wake up. You'll see that things are not what it was before. Seriously. But it's time to get ready. You won't have time when you get to here. No more salt school. I'll be running. Okay. You're sitting there at school. Where's Ben? I'm in the woods, man. You know? I'm running, living with the leeches. I don't care. So, there's no time for that anymore. But now when you have time to get educated about the Bible, use it. Use it. Right? But don't wait till time runs out and you go, oh, I wish I did this, or I wish I did that. That's too late. Don't live with regrets. Put the important things first. Right? Revelation 17 and all the other books of the Bible and all the other chapters designed to show us one thing. What's the theme of Revelation again? Jesus Christ. Time is short. We don't have much time left. And yes, they were probably studying this 100 years ago, but you know what? It's time to live up to our convictions, right? God is waiting for a group of people to have His character perfectly reproduced in their life. And then Ellen White says He will come and claim them as His own. He's waiting for that. The revelation of Jesus Christ. But there's nothing like understanding the time we're living in to make the important decisions to put Christ first. So, what are you waiting for? It's your decision, it's your life. But I hope that somehow, as you're going through all of this, and if you don't understand it, you know, I think the youth are going through Daniel. Like, have you guys been going through Daniel? Has that been good for you guys? I listened to that same audios. You know what you're listening to? I actually put in a tape player 15 years ago. Put an audio cable to my computer and started recording. That's why you can listen to it. These audios were recorded 15 years ago, over 15 years ago. But that's what I began to listen to when God stirred my heart and said, Ben, it's time to quit your job. It's the same audios that changed my life. You know? So If you guys want it for you know, Derek's got the link somewhere. You know, if you want those audios, you want to listen to it, yeah, get angry at him, not me, all right? You want to listen to them, give him the email, he'll share it with you. Start using your free time wisely. You know? Stop. Whatever you're doing, whatever it is a waste of time. Start prioritizing. Get ready. It's coming. All right? Shall we finish the last 3 verses? I believe we got to verse 14. Is it or 15? 14. So let's read the last 4 verses. So, Loria, can you read? Take 2 verses, and Dale, take 2 verses. And we'll finish Revelation 17.
And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the war seated of peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, he shall head the war, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire.
Verse 17. For God hath put in the hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. 18. The woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth.
Isn't that interesting? At the very end, the 10 horns will do what? What will the 10 horns do? They'll hate the whore, burn her with fire, eat her flesh. The very kingdoms that persecuted God's people will turn around and destroy the whole. This is like revenge at its biggest, right? It's like you tricked us to do the wrong thing. You know, those kings, but by that time it'll be too late. I hope you're not part of that group. You know. But the whole will have a hand, and so will the beast. Just depends where you stand. In verse 14, I believe it said, those that are with him, the Lamb, are called, chosen, are faithful. God has called and chosen everybody. The choice to be faithful is ours. That's our choice. It's your choice. At the end of the day, you can't blame anybody. You can't even blame the whore. She made me do it. You can't even blame the devil. He didn't make you do it. He just tempted you. You did it yourself. Right? The choice of being faithful is yours. So, no power on this side of heaven can force you to be unfaithful to God. It's a choice. All right? Yes, question?
Where does Islam come into this?
Where does Islam come into this? Probably like somewhere here. It's the same with Buddhism and Hindu and every other religion. But it doesn't really highlight Islam in that sense. We just saw Islam a lot in the Seven Trumpets. Yeah. The Ottoman Empire. Yeah. Any other questions about this? I hope I didn't confuse you guys. If you're confused because you don't understand some of the symbols, then you have to go back to previous studies and refresh. Okay? Any questions though? No? If not, let's have a word of prayer then, shall we? And we'll close it here for today. Let's bow our heads. Father in heaven, thank you so much for your word. And thank you, Lord, for showing us and helping us to realize, Lord, the important things that we need to consider today. And Lord, the important things are not our studies or our work. It's not even the clothes that we have on our back or the food that we have in our stomachs. The important thing is whether we have chosen you or not, and whether we've decided to follow you or not. Father, if this past week we have gone through and we have been knocked down by Satan and we've sinned and transgressed against you, I pray that you'd help us to confess, and that I know you'd be faithful, Lord, to forgive us our sins. But in this new week, I pray that you would help us to make a choice to be faithful to you. Help us to stand for the right though the heavens fall. Help us, Lord, to have the character of Christ reproduced in our lives this week. As in our studies and our work, at home with our families, wherever we are, Lord, I pray that you would please be with us, and that everything that we say and do would welcome always the influence of the Holy Spirit in our lives. So Father, please grant him to us, that he may give us the strength to live for you as well. So Father, also I pray that you'd please help us to make the right decisions and the choices that we have to make for our future, for our life, for what we see coming ahead, more than just what's going to take place in our individual lives, but also the universal Sunday law. Help us to be ready for that time, we pray. In Jesus' name we pray and ask. Amen.